All right.
And I'm starting the recording right now too, just to let you
Oh,
know.
okay.
All right,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
let's see what you got.
Yeah. So we'll see what we have here. See if I actually do remember the whole thing. Okay. All right.
There's a couple more notes on that A chord. There's a couple more notes on the A before it goes to E.
Oh,
After the hammer on, I think hit the first string and then the second string. Oh, do you have it right there?
oh, I don't know. Oh,
Yeah,
goes back to there, right? Yeah. Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
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 That's sort of what.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure there's parts in there where you can hear how they fit in, and I'm guessing there are parts in there where you're not sure how that really is like what he's playing. Is that kind of the case, or do you hear
Um,
pretty much everything?
I know what he's playing, and I'm not. I'm not. I guess I'm just not connecting the execution with the timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me play through it like at super slow speed, exactly like what you have on the tab. Let me dig it up. Or did I do that before?
I think you might have done that before, but do it now anyway. Just in context, it would be helpful.
Yeah, yeah. Especially now that you've been playing it a bit. Let me see. Okay. Because one of the things that makes this really difficult is even when you hear him play it, there are a lot of things that jump out as like very distinctive and very James Taylor. Then there are a lot of other things that are just completely incidental, and that really could go lots of different ways. And so first I'll play exactly what I have in the tab here, but then then let me think about it after that, okay? Because a lot of these things, especially at a very slow speed, don't make sense. Let me play it first at about half speed. Like here's real speed, right? Ah, what I got to do there? Oh yeah. So that's like real speed, right? And you can hear that sounds pretty close to the record, obviously without the capo. But
Right.
here now at about 80%, we'd have this. Like in that last measure, those bass notes that you pound away on the sixth string are pretty fast, and all those other notes are in between. But you could hear that at that speed, you lose a little bit of track of how everything sounds when you just heard it at like full speed a second ago.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
now at super slow speed, it's going to be even weirder.
Yep.
And then we're off into the verse.
Right.
So the first the first measure, not counting the last bass note, that open note on the fourth string,
Right. The D. Yeah.
is pretty straightforward. Like, you're playing that fine and you're hearing it well. So if I just play that measure without the bass note, and I'm recommending don't try to play that bass note where it is right now. So then we just have this, right? That's all that's important in that measure.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
Now, when we get into the second measure, there's a lot of, especially when we get to the third beat, where you're just beating away on a couple of notes on the A chord, and then you've got the doubled bass, right? You play the open fifth string a pile of times in a row.
Right.
So what I'd recommend in that measure is moving the bass note, the open bass note. I think I talked about this in the last one, but moving the open bass note, the D in the bass, which I think you played an A in the bass right there, but playing the open fourth string, the last note of the first measure.
Yeah. Right.
Make it a pinch on the first beat of the second measure. So, it's like I would even just scratch it out and move it to where the tie draws it, so that you're doing a pinch of 3 notes on the first beat.
Oh yeah, right here.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me hear that again. Wrong bass note. A D in the bass. Yeah. And then I'd scratch off coming up the 2 on the third string. Don't try to play that note either. Just do the pinch and the quick hammer on. And then so the first hammer on is 16th notes from 0 to 2, right? And then you have a hammer on that are 8th notes from 0 to 2.
Right.
Okay? And then so that and then we've got the hammer on the A chord, the 8th note, the 16th note hammer on from 0 to 2 on an A chord, right?
Right.
Okay. And so I would look at those 2 beats and practice them separately without even going any further, so that'll sound like this. And then if you're tapping, I'm tapping the 8th notes here. So I'm feeling 4 beats there. 1, 2, 3, 4. One more time. So it'd be 1 and for the hammer on. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and. You hear that?
Yeah.
Okay, one more time without me counting, but I'll be tapping. Hopefully you can hear my taps over the saw or whatever's going on out here. Okay, so if I tap 4 beats, 3, 4, and then hit 1 bass note, the open 5th string, right after that quick hammer on. So that would be that'd be the first of the next beat, the next set of 4/8. That's basically the second half of the measure.
Right. Right.
So at the speed we're talking about doing this, I would say tap the 8th notes and count to 4 twice in every measure. Don't try to count to 8. Split each measure into 2 groups of 4, right? So the first group of 4 leading up to the bass note is this again. 1 and 2, 3, 4 and 1.
Let me try that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say let me hear that.
Oh, so.
Yeah. Okay, make sure to hit D in the bass on the D chord. I'm not sure you did. Make sure you get the 4th string on that first hammer on. And then hit 1 more bass note. Yeah. Okay. So that A in the bass that you hit at the end. Try again. Yeah. Okay. And so that was really good, and the timing was pretty good. I think you knew where you were, even though there was a little hesitation getting the hammer on the A. That's hard.
Yes.
Oh, one more thing about that A. Don't even start with any of the A chord on. Just do that. You hit those 3 open strings and hammer on that note. Don't think about getting the rest of the A chord down yet.
Okay.
So you're only thinking about 1 finger for that hammer on to happen.
Okay. So it's just the hammer on's going to be
3rd finger. Wrong string. Yeah, there.
here.
Yeah. Right.
Okay.
Same string it's already on the D chord.
Yeah, it's already there. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So just try to get that far again.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, except it should have been pinched, right? With an A in the bass.
It's a pinch here, right?
Yeah, and two other strings. And yeah, there you go. So two fingers, right? The first string and second string. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
For that hammer on, for the second hammer on the D chord, don't take the rest of the chord off yet. Just have the whole D chord on, and when you do
Okay.
the first hammer on, now just take that finger off again and do another hammer on. Don't let go of the D chord. Try again. Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah.
Right.
See, it's easier to do that hammer on the D if you've got your other two fingers on, kind of anchoring you.
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. And then let me look at the music again.
Yeah.
Don't play the rest of that beat where you just hit the first bass note, where you've got the two above it and then two other open notes.
Right.
Just let that ring for those whole two beats, and then play the last 4/16 notes, and work on those 4/16 and the hammer on in the beginning of the next measure as like another new item. Now you've got the whole A chord on. So after you've done that hammer on the A,
Yeah.
then put the rest of the A chord down, right? And then start with your little finger, yeah, and just hit. It's two notes right there, yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna grab the two strings with two fingers, right,
These two. Yeah.
and then take it off, yeah, and then come in with right, and then the hammer on with the bass note on the first beat of the next measure. Yeah. Okay. So the same thing. Isolate that move. Oh, go ahead and put a bass note there. Like, see, there's no A in the bass on that three.
Right.
Okay, it's the same type of thing. Move and put a bass note there, like, because I just had you not play the bass note just before it,
Right.
right? So make it a pinch with the A in the bass again.
Okay. Okay. That's here.
Right, you gotta have your first finger on the third string for that note. Oh, hang on. On the very first beat of that, where you're doing that pinch,
Yeah.
it should be two fingers along with your thumb. Like, see, there's a two and a three there, so it should right,
Yeah. Oop.
right.
I'm
You've
missing
got to
the
work on the aim of your index finger, right, so that it gets the right string.
index fingers. It's
It's getting too close to your thumb. It's got to stay closer to your middle finger, right?
yeah. 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 Okay.
And then the hammer on. Yeah, yeah,
The hammer onto the bass.
perfect. Yeah, yeah. And there's another bass there, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then stop there. It's like that's your next like unit, you know.
Okay.
So again, that little excerpt is just this, and I've got a bass note on the first pinch and a bass note on the last hammer on. So that's the last 4/16 in the one measure,
Right.
and the first 2/16 in the next measure.
Right.
And that's just a pull off, right?
Pull off. Yeah. It's a pull
Yeah,
off.
it's hard.
Yeah. Okay.
Get your first finger on the right string, right? Or have it go. Don't forget, play your first finger. This pinch, this note should be part of it.
I'm playing it on this one. Yeah.
Yeah, and try to keep it in that neighborhood. Yeah, yeah. Okay, and yeah, that's getting there. Then, in the interest of trying, they all six of those eighth notes have to be exactly even. Bum ba da 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 da. Right, and
Yeah.
it's hard. Like a lot of times, right there when you do that first pinch, and you get to this note, the hammer on is faster than what like there might be a little it's coming out a little bit like this. Those weren't even. Here's
Right.
even. It's after you do the pinch, you're not really getting to the note at the second fret, the C sharp, quick enough. There's a little hesitation, and then when you get there, the pull off, everything else is timed pretty well. But again, it's sounding a little bit like this. Like you hit this, and then there's a little gap before this, and you got to get rid of that gap. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Did you hear it now?
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
I'll get the, yeah.
That's okay. One good thing about that is you can always hear when you hit the wrong note there. Even though you can't feel it in advance that you're going to hit the wrong string. So you got to work on that spacing. And actually, this is a really important thing in finger picking anyway, is getting used to pretty much these three fingers always feeling like they're on adjacent strings. It's very rare for us to ever have to hit like these two fingers with a string in between them, like to change the spacing of them. So this is why you practice songs like House of the Rising Sun with straight arpeggios. So that every finger like stays, understands where it needs to be, in relation to its other fingers.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And something you could practice there is even on a chord like C, practice changing the bass string, making sure the fingers don't move. So like going back and forth from the fifth string to the fourth string, and maybe even the sixth string. Now, if you do that on a C chord, you'd have to change it to a G. Yeah. So that your thumb is moving around, but these fingers are staying, in position.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Getting back to Fire and Rain now.
Yeah.
So we've kind of broken it down into so far 3 chunks, right? Chunk 1 is the first measure without the D and the bass at the end. We're done. Chunk 2 is the first half of the first measure, starting with a pinch though, right? And stopping on that bass note. Oh, you know what? When I said on that A chord, you don't really have to have the chord on yet. Your first finger on a D chord is already in the right place for the A chord. So go back to a D, right? When you do that hammer on the first string here, now when you're going to the A chord, don't take your first finger off, just take the right. And so your second finger, you could still do the hammer on here before your second finger gets on, but I'm going to backtrack completely on this because I think it's easy enough to move your second finger first. Like when I start that hammer on, I am on the A chord. It's just that I didn't put my third finger on yet.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah, so don't think about your third finger. Right. So really just think about getting 2 fingers on, one of which is already on.
Right.
Yeah, okay. that's the move we want to do there. I definitely led you down a bad path there.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Don't post anything on my Facebook.
That damn Dr. Fauci, he keeps changing his stance on masks. First we don't need a mask, then we need a mask, then we don't need a mask. What the hell am I supposed to do? Sean, are you going to get a vaccine? Oh, sorry. I digress.
Yeah.
There's one more hammer on. Wait, you need a second hammer on the first string. Yeah. Oh, and then one more bass note. Then hit the fifth string again, right?
Right. Oh, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I'll get that. Yeah.
Okay. So that's chunk number 2.
Yeah.
Then chunk number 3 is we've moved the bass. Oh, don't forget, in chunk number 2, we've also cut out the 2 on the third string with that second hammer on. On the D chord,
Yeah.
the 2 that is just before the hammer on the A chord.
Oh, right.
We've crossed that off.
Right. We've just.
Right, and then
Then to here.
and then a bass. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we've cut out the next 3 notes, the 2 and the 2 zeros.
Yep.
And then we've moved that 0 really to a pinch with the 2 and the 3 on the A chord, the A where we've added your little finger to make it.
Right.
Right?
Right here. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, okay. Now the next chunk, so that's 3 chunks, I think, right? First measure, the first half of the second measure,
Yep.
and the last part of the second measure going into the pinch on the third measure. The next chunk is the whole third measure. It's really easy. If you just play that out of context, it's all, except for the hammer on, it's all eighth notes. So that would just be 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So that's just a steady flow of eighth notes with a hammer on the A chord.
Right.
So we're looking at measure 3. Right. Starting with the hammer on that we've been stopping on in chunk number 3.
When we carried it, yeah.
Right.
Oh, okay.
An E chord, right.
Went to the wrong chord. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Good. Now stop there for a second, because I'm gonna change something in the E chord. Actually, I'm not gonna change anything, but we're gonna change what your right hand does for these notes. Your thumb is only gonna play the 6th string here. So the note on the 4th string, you're gonna move your right hand now so that this finger goes to the 4th string and this finger goes to the 3rd string.
Okay.
Okay, so your thumb only plays the 2. So you shift everything here.
Yep.
Shifting it basically with the same formation as on my A chord. I'm here on the 5th and here on the 3rd and the 2nd. Now I'm shifting the whole thing for E. Everything's going 1 string down.
Okay.
Got it? And so now I play that measure where my thumb... wait. What notes is it? Oh, it's a pinch.
Yeah.
Oh. So that pinch could be either finger on your right hand, either your middle finger or your 3rd finger. Because the pinch is... It's probably better to do it with your middle finger because that's where it's been. So go to the E chord. And that first pinch on your right hand should be, of course, your thumb on the 6th. And then your middle finger on the 2nd. Like it's normal home string, right?
Yep.
But now shift your fingers. So now then your index finger gets down to the 4th string. No, so get it to the 4th string. Oh wait, I'm sorry. Do I have them in the wrong order? Yeah. No, so yeah. That's it, okay? Yeah. Okay. So that measure is, so again, if we break it down to all these little tiny pieces,
Yeah.
you're in good shape right there. Okay. But now your hand, so going into the last measure, the G measure,
Right.
now your hand is in exactly the position we want because notice there are no notes on the first string in this measure. Oh
Mm,
no, there are. Sorry, there are
yeah.
later. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
There, yeah. There's the F sharp.
Right,
Right.
right, right. Ah, so what's going to happen here is we're going to have another shift in the middle of this measure. But for the first part of this measure, these three fingers are one string down. They're on, so you're going to start this on the G chord and go thumb, index, middle, ring. Right. And then notice the next two notes are in the same position, thumb and index. And now you shift. For the rest of the measure, your right hand shifts back into normal position while you keep pounding away on the sixth string in the bass. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah. Man, that was great. Okay. So each measure or each of our little chunks has its own kind of unique challenges.
Yeah.
Like for this G measure, the left hand is no challenge at all. This is all right hand, your right hand being accurate with the notes and the timing. Obviously your right hand's in charge of most of the timing through here, but we have a lot of hammer-ons, and all those hammer-ons are times when your left hand has to control the timing and make sure that the notes happen at the same speed they would have if you had hit them. And I've probably talked about this before, but every time you have to do a hammer-on or a pull-off or a slide to something,
Mm-hmm.
your left hand is now in control of the rhythm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the only time that's happening. Usually your right hand's in control of the rhythm.
Right.
So your left hand doesn't usually have to think about moving in time. It usually has to think about moving ahead of time. You got to have the notes of the chord down before you can hit them.
Right.
If you put a note down at the time you're supposed to hit it, it's going to be late. Or it's going to sound terrible. You're not going to. So that's what I mean. So your left hand usually has to be ahead of the timing that your right hand is doing, right?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
And so when you do a hammer-on or pull-off, when people first try these, they invariably do them too fast because your left hand is used to doing stuff ahead of the beat.
Right.
And
Okay.
so it's a good thing to be aware of. If I haven't, if I have, or even if I've mentioned that 5 other times before, this is a good time to hear it again. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because that's the tendency most people have is when you have a hammer on or a pull off, you do it too fast.
Right. Right. Oh yeah. I can see that, especially on that the A3 to 2.
Yeah.
That one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Now,
So
go ahead. No, go ahead. What else do you have?
I was just the shift part that um that was confusing, and now I think I get it. Particularly going from in the third measure, the A, and now we're up at the E.
Right. And now you stay in that position.
We that's where we make the change. We go from
Right. Yeah.
then,
Perfect.
yeah, then we stay there for
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay.
And see, I'm pretty sure that you hear that a whole lot better now than you
Okay.
did like 20 minutes ago when you just played it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and see, so this is really the key to this is your right hand being in the right position at the right time.
the right time, right. But back, let's see, all the way back though, when we're starting out though, we're playing this in standard position here.
Right, one fret higher, fourth fret. Yeah,
Yeah, it didn't sound very good, did it? But this is all
good.
right?
Yep, and then the pinch.
Now this is shifted though.
Yeah. So now we're into D position. So we're dealing with two different shifts, right? So this is what I would call the D shift, where you're going to two fingers on the top two strings.
Right.
And then we've got a different shift where we're doing with three fingers moving to lower strings.
Right.
That's what we did on the E chord, was we moved, you know.
Right.
So we're talking about three different right hand positions.
Right. Right.
And
Okay.
yeah.
And here we're making that shift. We're doing our
Now we shift right now for this hammer on the A.
right.
Yeah.
Let's see
And then we cut out those three notes right there. Oh, there's one more bass note after that hammer on. Remember? You got
Yeah.
and then another A in the bass.
Yeah.
Right. And right. And that hammer on is our whole third measure. But again, practice up to that hammer on and stopping there, making sure you've got those 3/8 notes, the 4/16 and the 2/16. That you've got those 6/16 notes all even. Ba da 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 da.
Oh,
The last 4/16 in measure 2,
right.
the first 2/16 in measure 3.
Oh, right. Right. And
That's
with the
that's 6/16 I'm talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, and you even hit an extra bass note that doesn't happen. So after that hammer on at the beginning of measure 3,
Yeah.
it's not your thumb again that comes in there, right? It's the third string.
Right.
But it was good that you did that when you hit that bass note in there, because the last time we did a hammer on that string, we followed it with that A in the bass in the previous measure.
Right.
Okay, so that's where that came from. You had a little muscle memory kick in there. Oh, I do this hammer on, and then I hit the bass note again. So that was really good. Now it could have been a random mistake, but I'm going to give you credit for that one. Yeah,
Right there. Okay.
yeah.
Better if I don't look at this. Oh, that's my index finger.
You're right.
This
And
hand.
on your left hand, try to have your index finger, left hand, closer to the fret. Squeeze it up a little bit more. Yeah. When you play the A that way, that note was coming out a little dead because you were too far away from the fret.
Okay.
Yeah. You know what? And sometimes when you're having trouble like finding the right string, like in this case, your index finger is a little disoriented. Um, when you hit the right one right there a second ago, I have a feeling that in your brain you thought, I'm reaching too far. I'm going to hit the second string. It'd be good to try to hit the second string there so you can feel how far away that is. So try
Yeah.
that once. Do that pull off and intentionally try to hit the second string incorrectly when you should be hitting the third string. See if you can do
I
that
do the hammer on
after the hammer on, or after the pull off.
after the pull off.
Yeah. Now that's the right note.
Yeah.
And were you trying to hit the second string?
It was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm saying. So see, I tried to have you overcorrect here, and you couldn't do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So that gave you a feel for where. Yeah. Okay. So that helps you measure where to be for that note, right?
Yeah. It feels like a
And I would venture to say that you'd have to think 3 times as hard to actually hit the second string there, which is the string you just played with this finger. So try that now. See if you can hit the second string with your index finger after that pull off.
okay.
Well, that's good. You got it. Yeah, okay. But you can see that you had to go a long way to make that happen. And it
Yeah.
wasn't very clean. You actually didn't get all the way there. You only got a piece of it. But anyway. Now that's what we want. Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So
And
that could be the path to solving that problem. Yeah. Oh, and then do that measure again now. Do the rest of that measure, measure 3, going from the A chord, starting with the hammer on,
okay.
and now good. And now
Uh,
shift.
yeah.
Don't forget, you don't shift till after you've done the pinch on the E chord.
After we do the pinch.
So
Okay.
that pinch is
Yeah.
still your middle finger, your second finger,
Yeah.
when the bass goes down to the sixth string.
Okay. Okay. So you need to do the hammer on and okay.
Ah, wrong chord though. It's E.
One chord.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But it's going to be when I get here finally. It's going to be
Right. And then what?
oh, it's going to be
And the next note. Right.
oh, there's no
There's it
after
doesn't.
the pinch. It goes directly to here.
Right. Yeah. 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 Right. So actually, your right hand right there is doing what we were trying to prevent it from doing a minute ago, which is
Over.
where you hit the middle string with this finger, and then we needed the third string.
Yeah.
Now, and you kept getting the fourth string, right?
Right. 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 Right.
Now we need your middle finger on the second string and this one to hit the fourth string. Now we're putting that shift there to do
Right.
what you sort of naturally wanted to do
Right.
in the
Yeah.
other place, right? So the
Yeah.
more you can be aware of every one of those single moves, you
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
better then we're on the path to success with this.
Right. 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 Okay. Well, okay. The breakdown. Okay. I think I got that through the shifts and all. And so, and how we modified that somewhat. And then it's just a matter of timing, I think.
Yeah, and so that, yeah, keeping it, making sure you know where the beats are and that you're feeling the beats every eighth note. You're counting to 4 twice in every measure, and making sure that you keep those notes in time. Right now,
Yeah.
when we hear him play it, or when we get it up into the real speed, um, we can't tap the eighth notes; they're going too fast. It'd be da 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 da. We're gonna be tapping quarter notes. Da 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 da. But anytime you have 16th notes involved,
Yeah.
which can always look a little intimidating, it's like, oh my gosh, I can't play that fast, and
Right.
especially when you're thinking about the song's in 4/4 time, which means we're counting quarter notes.
Right.
And but when we see sixteenths, it means we have to be able to divide these quarter notes into 4 parts, not just 2 parts, which would be our eighth notes, right?
Right.
So generally the path for that when you're learning a song that has sixteenths is now you start counting the eighth notes so that you're only splitting your beat into 2 parts, and that gives us the sixteenths. Instead of trying to get used to the quarter notes and getting used to, okay, well, I know if these are my quarter notes, 4/16 will go da 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 da. But first you go like eighths go da 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 da. Now if I start tapping every eighth, da 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 da. Now it's not hard to make that into sixteenths. Da 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 da. I'm just putting one more split in between these.
Okay.
You know, so that's just always a good path in the early days of dealing with 16th notes until you get really slick or comfortable at how you can split a beat into 4 parts, especially if you don't need all 4 parts. You might only need 2 of the 4 parts, and then one other one might be longer or something like that, So we'll talk more about that another time, but
And do you, I mean, it almost feels like in most of these, we're splitting each measure into 2 measures.
that's exactly how I want you to think of it is two measures of 4/8 notes each
Right.
is our one measure of 4 quarter notes.
Yeah. Even at the beginning, the,
Right. You just hit the wrong string. When you did the slide, you didn't pinch the right string. Try again. Yeah. Yeah. So the way you should be even counting that in your head or hearing it is one and two, three, four,
Okay.
one and two, three, four. One and two, three, four, and one, two. And then three and four and one and anyway.
Okay. Okay. Actually, could you play that through and count the entire thing?
I hope
Yeah.
so. Let's see. Wait, I gotta practice this. I'll do that next week. No. Yeah. Okay, let me see if I can do that. So
Okay.
one, two. I'm gonna even slow it down more.
Okay.
One, two, three, four. One and two, three, four. One and two, three, four. One and two, three, four, and one, two, three, and four, and one and two, three, four, one, two, three, four. One and two and three and four and one and two and three and four and. Okay, I got all the counting right. I missed one note in that G measure, but that
Yeah.
just but that might help. I hope.
No, that will help. It certainly illustrates how the fourth measure or the seventh and eighth measures, if we think about it that way,
Yeah, yeah,
just roll through with the
right. Except for the very first beat, it's a steady flow. It's a steady flow of sixteenths. Two
it's-
and three and four and one and two and three and four and.
yeah. Okay.
Oh no, it is. It's all sixteenths. Yeah, no, I forgot. So it's all 16 notes you can hit in the measure.
Right.
The whole thing is one and two and three and four and one and two and three and.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Okay. Great. Well, this will give me something to do here for the week. That and get back to the other uh, keep on trying.
So
And
in keep on trying as you started putting through it in different keys. One of the last things we talked about last week was making sure you knew which step of the scale the vocal part started on. So with each of those, when you play it starting on a D chord or a G chord, right? We talked about that it starts on the root of the chord. I think, right? That
yeah.
I've been thinking. Is that? Yeah. So on that C chord, it starts the melody note you're singing is C, right?
Huh?
And that's where we know that if you start on that high C, you're going to be hosed pretty soon as far as the melody goes. And if you
Right.
start on the low C, which is what I would do, we'd have this. I've been thinking about all da 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 da. So for me, singing that in C, an octave lower than where Timothy Schmidt sang it,
Yep.
works great, you know.
Yeah.
But it doesn't get the intensity in the higher parts that he gets because he's singing in the top of his range. So that's not going to get that part in the top of my range. It's going to be like in the middle, you know. So,
Right.
so then if I did it in G, now I'm going to have to start on G. Well, I'm
Yeah.
not going to start on the low G in that case. I've been thinking about all the da da da. Okay, now we're in the gravel pit, you know. But I'd have to sing that starting on this G. I've been thinking about da 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 da. Now that's feeling like a good key for me, where I can get the same intensity if I had it that he gets when it gets into the higher parts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So with each of those different keys, make sure you try singing it starting on the right note, which means you're on the root of the chord.
Right. Okay. And when you were playing that and strumming it, you were strumming that. It was bass, but on the after the third beat, the second bass note,
Yeah.
you were changing the strum.
I would usually put an up right there on the and of three. So if I was going to do a fairly basic strum with this, and I might have even done it without changing bass notes. I might have been hitting the same bass note on three that I hit on one,
Uh-huh.
just much softer. So like this. And then so what I kind of did there was on beat 2 just a down. Bass note on 1, just a down on 2. No ups in the first half of the measure. But then the
Right.
second half of the measure, bass note on 3 and an up on the and of 3 and a down on 4. So right. And possibly another up on the and of 4. That would be
Okay.
this. So here's the simpler one, meaning 1, 2, 3, and 4. But it certainly couldn't hurt to have another up after that. Just very softly. You know, it's like just to have it, it's more percussive. Ah, that's it's so fast that makes it feel a little busy. The most important thing that makes the second half different from the first is the up right after the bass note.
So up on 3 after the bass note.
Yeah, on the and of 3. Yeah.
Okay. 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 And if you're playing that with a pick, you would be doing that basically on 3 after the bass note. Do you
You follow through, you complete that down after the bass note, you know. So if I'm in the first half of the measure, it would just be I'd hit the bass note and then I'd kind of reload up here for my down.
Yeah.
But in the second half, I got to hit that bass note and continue a down after I've hit the bass note and follow with an up. So yeah. Yeah. And then you could still have the last up as well. And there's nothing wrong with alternating the bass notes here. Now when you hear the C chord played for like 4 measures in a row without the bass alternating, that's getting boring. But even then, I'm hitting that second bass note very softly. I'm more like faking my way at it. Like right there, I realized you couldn't even hear my second bass note. It's also like more It's not this. That's too like in your face with something you don't need.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. All right. Good. Good.
Okay, you got all that?
Yep. I got it all.
All right, good. Let's shoot for next week, and I'll send you a link to this in a few minutes.
Next week, and good luck on your wedding.
Yeah, I got to work on my my